Ideas flow, but never allow.
Today's topics are the good day trap, shadow work explained, the physics of emotion, the 8-minute rule, and sleep and the brain.
Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy.
Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Ramblings of a Busy Mind. And I have with me Krista Marie Mosher. And she is a trauma-informed coach, energy healer, and you do shadow work. So
I do.
Shadow work, explain that please for me, because it's not a word that I use. So
Right. So shadow work is going into those areas, those aspects of ourselves that we tend to chain up and shove down because we've been told that they're dark, right? So anger, shame, abandonment, things like that, fear, that we tend to shove down and push away and put into the shadow again because we've been told that they're dark and they're not palatable, right? Like we should suppress our anger because it can be dangerous. And when you start doing shadow work, you start to realize that these aspects of yourself are protectors. They are teachers, they are guides, they have a lot that they can teach us about our healing. And as we start to integrate those aspects of ourselves, they just become a whole lot less scary. We don't keep them chained up in a dungeon anymore. We're actually able to embrace them and have conversations with them, and they can teach us and guide us in a lot of ways.
It is something that I agree with, but that's why the word shadow or the word shadow doesn't work for me, or dark doesn't work for me, because for me it's a pointer that there's something that I need to pay attention to and that I want to change. So it's an indicator, but it's not something dark. It's, as you said, it's my teacher. It's my tool to recognize I'm going in a direction that I don't want to go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, our fear, tells us, oftentimes where we're not in the right place and where we should be going. Our anger tells us where we've been disrespected or dismissed, and they're protective. And I think shadow work or calling them dark is something that's kind of mainstream, that people, it intrigues them. A lot of people don't see them yet as teachers and guides. They see them as something that's dark. Not everybody's in that place where they recognize what they truly are, right?
So I'm just laughing because looking at you and me, shadow and light, and I'm choosing happiness. So I always choose the lighter side of life. So that's where there's no shadow for me, really, because I can always, whatever like drags me down, I can usually spin it in a positive way, right? And I personally, I'm not a fan of positive, negative, dark and light. It's more there is something that serves me and something that doesn't serve me, or it serves me in a way that I see, and it serves me in a way that I don't see or that I don't acknowledge. But everything has a reason, and usually we don't know what the reason is or what to make it.
Well, and there's a point where positivity can become toxic, though, right? Because we can say everything happens for a reason and this is happening for me and all of that, but the fact of the matter is sometimes shitty things happen and there's no reason for it. And we can't always paint it in a positive light because it's not always positive.
True, there might not be a reason for it, but I can still find something to make out of it. That's
the lesson in it.
I cannot do anything about the circumstances, but I can choose how I react and respond, right?
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
And that's what my work is more about, to see a different perspective when you're stuck. Right.
Yeah.
I learned that because I became such a negative Nelly in the 10 years that I was working in my old job. And it was me not realizing that I had to change and constantly waiting that the others would change, which doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. We can't change anyone but ourselves. And a lot of people don't even change themselves, right? Because it's hard work to look at all these different aspects of ourselves and accept them and see the lessons in them. And, it's a balance, right? It's seeing the lessons in the hardship and seeing that there's joy in them too. There's joy in this journey. And sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's dark, it's light. I mean, it's all semantics, right? The words that we use. And but yeah, I often say I have one foot in the dark and one foot in the light, because if you don't have darkness, you can't see light. It's dark at night. That's how we see the stars and the moon, right? In the light, in the sunshine, in the daytime, that's how we see the shadows of the trees and, you know, the patterns it makes on the ground and things like that. They go hand in hand. It's balance.
Yeah, balance. A friend of mine said balance is 50-50. I said, no, balance is 30-60.
Sometimes it's
60-30.
70-30.
It doesn't matter as long as there's both there, and what you choose is overweighing than the other. Like that the one that's striking you down is not overweighing the positives, the good things.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the point,
exactly.
right? Finding balance in good or bad, and there's everything is gray. There's no black and white.
And that's it. It's all shades of gray, right? There is no real good. There is no real bad. It's just life. It just is. You know, sometimes we feel blah and sometimes we feel happy and sometimes, you know, we feel somewhere in between and somewhere we're ecstatic, and, you know, it's just all the scope of life. And sometimes we feel both things at the same time, right? We can be grieving and joyful at the same time. We can be that's the paradox of being human, is we can feel more than one thing at one time,
helps,
and it can be challenging.
It helped me a lot in my grieving process when like losing, didn't matter if somebody, something near to me. What helped me a lot was to see the good, be that it's over for them, they went fast. And for some people that might sound harsh or hard, but in the end, it's not about me passing, it's about them passing.
Yeah.
And if they have to suffer for ages and then finally can go,
yeah,
there's good in it.
Yeah.
And I can be happy for them. Still grieving that they're gone, they're lost, but I don't have to drown in, oh me, I'm left behind.
Right. And I think, I mean, I have a very different perspective on, you know, the death of the human body, because it's just a transition.
Same
right?
here.
It's we lose their physical presence, but I mean, if we come talk into the energetics, everything is energy. Energy cannot cease to exist. It can only change form.
Yeah.
So we're just losing them in a physical way, but we carry them with us, right? And some people find that dismissive when you say, well, they're still with you, and they think that that's dismissive because their physical presence isn't there. But the fact is, their energy, their love, all the things is it's still with you.
And when you're paying attention, you will have and it might be a lingering resonance of their energy in your field or whatever it is. Like I say, I have my father that slaps me over the head and says, "You stupid." Not yeah, basically. Or the grandmothers who tap the shoulders and say, "You do well," right?
Yeah.
It might be a lingering physical or memory.
Yeah.
But the sensation is there, and I can distinct who it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just being aware of it.
Yeah, their energy is distinctive, and that distinctive energy doesn't change, you know, just because their physical being has changed.
Yeah.
Their energy doesn't change.
So you trained as a death doula, and we were talking about that you don't call yourself that at the moment. You shifted. But what made you, first of all, what is a death doula? And what made you choose that?
So back in 2020, so a death doula is someone that works with the medical profession, with families and with a dying person. So a very wide scope in the practice. Some people will help with advanced care planning. Some death doulas are there through the active end of life process. Some doulas are there in the after, providing, but it's more of an emotional, spiritual support. It's not medical, although, you know, if you're actively working with someone in the process of dying, you might be doing dressing changes, you might be moistening lips and that kind of thing. But it's really providing that emotional, spiritual layer of support in between family and medical professionals. So it's an extra layer of support as someone's going through end of life. For me, when I was called to it, there weren't grief certifications that I was aware of at that time. But I knew when I got that call, it was around the end of 2020, that my work was going to lie in the area of grief and anger, because grief and anger go hand in hand, right? Because we're often really pissed off that the person is gone. And there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of
I
different
would
things
say
between
that the grief even starts before, like if there's longer lingering
100%.
sickness or illness, it's
Yeah,
an ongoing process even before the person died.
absolutely. And I mean, there's the term anticipatory grief, right? When you're in that grief process before the person has actually passed, and going through that anticipatory grief can actually change your grief process after they've died. And going through a sudden death is an entirely different experience, right? I had both of those with my dogs. So Zeus was a year walking him home. There was an incredible process of anticipatory grief, which quite frankly is one of the weirdest emotions and feelings to kind of go through. And then Ozzy was sudden. He woke up in the morning, he collapsed in the hallway. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, he was gone. It was, you know, there wasn't that anticipatory process. And two entirely different experiences when you're going through, you know, there's grief when you're going through getting a diagnosis, there's grief when you get a diagnosis, there's anticipatory grief when you get the prognosis, whether it's a few weeks, a few months, a few years, whatever the case may be. But then there's the grief that comes with sudden loss, whether it's from an accident or an illness that, you know, you cut your finger and get septic and die, right? Like it's because there wasn't proper care. So there's very different experiences. But I always knew immediately when I got that calling to do the death doula certification, that training, I knew it was just kind of the foundation and that my work would be lying in the area of grief. And that
And
ties into the trauma coaching and shadow work as well.
and
Grief's a
people
very big
don't
part of that.
yeah, people don't also realize that grief is not bound by person. You can grieve your own loss, you can grieve
Yes.
your pets, you can grieve the loss of your work. Grief is
Yep.
so multiple. And as you said before we started talking, yes, grief and burnout go hand in hand. As everything that can overwhelm your system, burnout is the constant threat in there, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but I like the idea of having somebody there who gives you a different perspective. It's like my
Yeah.
work with the PTSD and the burnout, trying to shift your perspective from this is where I'm at, and my mind is going in this circle instead of this circle, or even wider out, and not in a circle, because there's a different perspective and just different input coming in that gets you
Yeah.
out of that state of overwhelm, basically, right?
Yeah.
I find that's with every mental health challenge is the same thing. The mental health challenges mean you're stuck in your brain.
Yeah.
Literally, you're stuck in your brain. You cannot get out unless you get that push or that smack on the head.
Right. Yep.
That rattles your system.
Yep.
And then you can jump out of that loop into different spin, right?
Yeah.
And still people don't see that. Still don't people
Yeah.
go for medications which numb you down and keep you still in that loop.
Yeah. And I think there's a time and a place for medications
Absolutely.
in acute situations, but I don't feel that they're meant to be long term.
No.
You know, like if you're taking an antidepressant and it's it doesn't help you create more serotonin. It rations the serotonin you're making. And if you're already not making enough and it's rationing it, there's a lot of other things you need to look at. You need to look at your gut health. 70% of our serotonin is produced in our gut. Chances are, if you're depressed, grieving, your digestion is not good, your gut health is not well, so your serotonin production is going to be low and you're going to feel depressed, right? So there's other things that
Physical depression causing is head forward. I just learned that because basically with your head shoulder slump,
yeah,
it will create compression, will decrease blood flow, and will compress the vagus nerve. So you're creating depression too, right?
Yeah.
Literally, physically, you're creating that.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. And that's why, like, as a coach, like, a lot of people, I shouldn't say that. I don't know that people understand that coaching is a complementary and an adjunct. So you have your medical professionals, you have your therapists, you have your nutritional people, and then you have your coach. Like, it's a holistic approach, and it's just another layer in that. So it's another tool.
Integrative these days is the word. That it's not complementary, it's not alternative anymore. It has to be integrated from all sides, and then you get the best of all worlds if all of us work together, right?
Absolutely.
I personally, again, that's semantics. I don't like the word coach for myself because I don't see myself as a coach. For me, coach has a connotation of I push you through,
right,
while I'll give you the hand and have you work yourself out of it.
Yeah.
That's why I use the word guide rather than coach. And again, it's just personal preference.
But I struggled with the word coach for a very long time for exactly that reason. I use it at the moment, and it may change, right? It may change. But I use it at the moment because it seems to be a word that people are starting to understand and become more familiar with, in understanding what coaching is. And it is guiding, it is support, it is knowledge sharing, it's all the things, right? So, and I don't know that we have a word at this point to describe accurately what it is.
Yeah, it's hard because you're giving support, you're guiding, you're assisting. And that's why for me guide made the most sense, because I don't do the work for you. I help you do the work, but I don't do the work.
Yeah. But even if you think about it, even in sports coaching, the coach doesn't do the work for the players. The coach provides guidance, instruction, wisdom, but the players have to do the work. The players have to do the training, right? So
I hear you in that, but still they have to do the training the way the coach says. That's the difference, right?
To a certain, to a certain degree, because I mean, you know yourself, you can give people all the tools in the world, but they have to use them, right? The tools only work if you use them. I can give you all the things, but you have to actually use them, and use them in a way that works for you, where you are in your way, because not everybody likes to meditate. Not everybody can meditate. People need to do it in different ways that work for them, right?
And I find often when, especially I know for myself, the way that I was taught to meditate, and I was shamed for falling asleep during meditations, especially group meditations, was you had to clear your mind.
Yeah, bullshit.
Tell somebody with a burnout brain that there's no mind. You cannot clear that. But when you learn to let go of your thoughts and just don't react on them, then and that's what the singing bowls did for me, because they make you meditate if you want or not. They just let you be you. And when I do my meditation, I tell people I like when they snore, because that means they trust me. They trust me enough to fall asleep, right?
Right.
And
they're actually out of their head at that point, which is
exactly, and that's
what we're going for.
We don't want them in their head. We don't want them spinning with shopping lists and to-do lists and whatever. We want them to float, and that's the cool thing with the singing bowls. Everybody can meditate with the singing bowls every single day. It might take a bit, to get used to them, but usually the second or third time, people are already entrained and reacting right away with them, right? And
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah. And so much happens, so much healing happens when we can just let our brain and our subconscious do what it's designed to do, right? When we're not trying to control it and just let it do what it's designed to do, because our bodies and our brains are designed to heal, right? They want to heal. They want
And to process.
And to process. And that's why, sleep hygiene gets, talked about all the time. And neither one of us have the best of sleep hygiene, right?
Here's the one who has just 4 night shifts behind her.
Right. And this is the one that has the toddler bedtime, but then is awake for 3 hours in the middle of the night, right? But it's our brains process so much when we sleep. But if we can allow the natural process, because there's that, people think we go to sleep and then we have the initial stages and then we have REM and then we come out of it, but we actually go in 45-minute cycles. And the REM cycles are shorter at the beginning, longer at the end. And that's why if you wake up to an alarm in the middle of a REM cycle, it will take you 4 hours to come out of it. So that's why if you wake up to an alarm at 6 a.m. and you don't feel like a human until 10, it's because your brain is still in REM while you're trying to do all the things. So that's where the 3 cups of coffee come in. And
I find if I start my day right if I don't have to run right away after night shift, if I can do my things, which means go out with the dog, be active for a bit, and then settle down and take your time to come to yourself, my brain is not as muddled.
Yes.
And I always check my brain. Like brain function is the LinkedIn games. I have like 4 games that I do, and depending if my brain is fully functional, I'm usually half the time for all 4 of them.
Yeah.
If I'm okay, then I'm a little bit over. And if I'm really bad, then I'm totally lost in time and don't even make the mark. And then I know, okay, it's time for intervention. It's time for me. So I have my own little check-ins basically to make sure I go for the right space. I take the right time. I have the right supplements. And today, as I said, I sat an hour in the sun, right? After I was outside. And it's just, I'm influenced in winter by the gray and gray. My circadian rhythm doesn't work when it's gray. If the sun is out, I cannot sleep. So I can go to bed by 4 o'clock in the morning and I might sleep till 6, but if the sun is out at 6 o'clock, I'm awake.
Yeah.
I crash in the afternoon. Yes, I need my nap.
Same.
So I would be perfectly fine in Italy with like getting up early in the morning, work till 3 or till 10,
have
12,
the siesta.
siesta till 3 and then work till 10. That would work for me.
Yeah.
But not everybody can do that.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. And everybody's rhythm is different. Some people are biologically night owls. Somehow people are biologically morning larks, and it's actually in our DNA. And you can change that, but understanding and accepting and learning to work within your natural pattern, your natural cycle can make an enormous difference, right? And your cycles change over time. I mean, I never used to be an afternoon napper. I never used to be a morning person. Now somehow I'm a morning person. If I need to, I'll take an afternoon nap. I have a toddler's bedtime. I'm awake through the night, but right now that's working for me. I'm not tired. I'm not foggy. I'm not whatever. And there may come a time when that changes and I will adjust accordingly, right? It's allowing yourself the grace to make changes and not be rigid in your routines and in your patterns.
Mine is usually, I can be like, if I'm in bed between 11 and 12, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I usually sleep till 7.
Yep.
6, 7, depending on. I might not sleep through. That's one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm rarely later in bed than 8:30. because I
Same.
cannot stay in bed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I'm in bed by 4. With the night shift, my challenge is that I get a second wind as soon as I get home because I have to take the dog out. So I'm in the fresh air, I'm moving, I'm getting active again, and then it takes me 2 hours to wind down.
Yeah.
So if it's like Saturday, which was 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I got home,
Yeah.
I'm asleep by 6. I
Yeah.
was up by 9. I couldn't sleep
Yeah.
anymore. It doesn't
Yeah.
help. And it doesn't help me staying in bed because I won't sleep. I will scroll the phone
Yeah.
mindlessly.
And you toss and you turn. If you
Yeah,
don't have your phone, you toss, you turn. Then you pick
yeah,
up the phone and you scroll,
yeah,
which I made a rule for myself, I don't know, a few years ago now, and I leave my phone out of the bedroom. Very rare occasions I will take it in if I have to, God forbid, set an alarm for the morning, which I hate to do. I try to avoid at all costs. But and some nights I know I need to go to bed, but I also need the noise. Like, so I'll put on a familiar TV show and close my eyes and go to sleep to that. But that's a very rare occurrence now. I leave my phone, I shut it right off, turn it off, leave it in the kitchen, and go to bed. And I'll read as opposed to surf the phone because the
yeah.
whole light from the phone, right, is
There is a really
screws the ability
interesting
to.
person on Facebook. He does research and he has a reset program and he brings tidbits out of his research.
Mhm.
And don't ask me the name.
I know the guy you're talking about. We
Yeah,
talked about
yeah.
him.
And
Yeah.
his post this morning was interesting, or yesterday night was interesting, because he said if you have to sleep in a cold bedroom but with lots of blankets, your brain basically needs the cold input while your body needs the physical safety of the heavy blankets in order to fall asleep. You will not sleep any other way.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
yeah,
I
that makes sense why my dog now has to sleep on my bed because it's
the weight, right?
it's the weight. It's somebody next to you. It's breathing. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
My dog doesn't want to sleep in my bed most times. Which is
Yeah,
so
but
funny.
no, it's very true. But there's a book by, what's his name? Stephen Walker, I think is his name. But it's called Why We Sleep. And I believe everyone should read that book. It's not very big. It is a little technical in spots, but it was so enlightening. And, talking about dreams and why we sleep. And if you're getting like 8 hours in a 24-hour period is kind of the ideal, right? And it doesn't have to be all in one chunk, right? You can get 3 hours here, 4 hours there, whatever. It's 8 in 24-hour period. But when you're sleep deprived, if you're getting 5 or 6 or less hours of sleep a night, you are sleep deprived. But your brain doesn't know that you're sleep deprived. That's why people say, oh, I'm used to it now. No, you're not. It's just your brain is stupid and doesn't know better. Right?
Mine is.
Right. But when you're sleep deprived like that, you have the executive processing, you have the cognitive function of a drunk person.
Mhm.
More fatal accidents are caused by people who are sleep deprived than by drugs and alcohol combined. And no
Absolutely.
one talks about it. And it talks about the function of dreams and, the function that sleep can help with in diabetes and all different kinds of diseases and illnesses that we end up with. And it's the way our brain processes and sorts through our day when we sleep, the way our body heals when we sleep. And I think everybody should read it.
We will
It's,
post the information in the description once you share
yeah.
it with me.
I'll make sure I get the author's name right for you. I'm pretty sure it's Stephen Walker. Matthew Walker. Matthew Walker. I'm getting Stephen Porges and Matthew Walker crossed in my head. Matthew
Yeah.
Walker.
So
Yeah.
your story yourself, you had a story of pain and
Yeah.
illness and fatigue
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
made you
So
switch.
my earliest memory of pain is from 2 years old. And that's my earliest memory of rage as well. And it's kind of sounds funny to say it, but even at 2, like I knew that the rage that I felt wasn't quote unquote normal. But I had this pain and was chronic pain. I was diagnosed at 31 with fibromyalgia, shortly after with chronic fatigue syndrome, all of these diagnoses. And they tell you that it's chronic. They tell you that you're going to live with it forever. And it got to a point where I was non-functional. I was, I had to have someone come to the grocery store with me because I didn't know if my body was going to crap out. More than once, I left a full cart of groceries in the middle of an aisle and left because I was so sore and so fatigued and so nauseous that I just could not be in the store anymore. And then crystals came into my life. They've been a part of my life in one way, shape, or form or another since I was, 12 or 13. But they came into my life. And then cranial sacral therapy, the energy work came into my life. And all of these different pieces started to come in. And then I was just barely at the beginning of that when my husband left me, when I moved into this new, well, not so new anymore, but moved into my little cottage. And everybody in my life was so worried about me because I wasn't functional. I needed help with basic daily life things. And I still don't know how I managed to make the move up here because it was a lot of packing in the house and downsizing and 4-hour drive up and unpack and then 4-hour drive back and pack more. And it was, I don't know how I did it, but it was one step at a time, right? One baby step at a time. Winter prep here, my first year, I stacked wood for 5 minutes at a time. And then I would rest for half an hour. And then I would stack wood for 5 more minutes. And I learned not to push. I learned not to use the good day to do all the things, because when you're living alone, you can't do that because there is no help, there is no support. So you have to learn how to pace yourself so that you don't use one good day and then crash for a week. You do a little bit, and then tomorrow you can do a little bit more. And then the next day you can do a little bit more. And that's how you build the resilience and the healing. And I don't live in chronic pain anymore. I don't live in chronic fatigue anymore. I can get up at 8:30 in the morning. I can work all day. I can stack wood, do laundry, do all the things, go into town, play some pool in the evening.
Meet me.
Meet you, and it's a half-hour drive to town. It's a half-hour drive home, but I can be out in that environment with all the sensory input, because that was also a thing, right? All the sensory input. Be out around the people, have all that sensory input, and come home and get up and do it all again the next day. Like, over the years, you build that strength and that resilience and you heal, but you have to listen to your body and you have to give it the time to heal. You have to recognize that, yeah, okay, it's only 5 minutes that I can do this right now, but 6 months from now, maybe it'll be a half an hour. Right.
I'm just thinking, when you tell that story, knowing where you live on the end, like at the end of the world.
The end of the earth. The end of the earth, I call it. Yeah.
How long is the road to the end of the island?
So it's 8 kilometers from the main road to me. Dirt road, lots of potholes. It's like roulette. Yeah, so it's, if to take my garbage out is a 15-minute round trip. I have to drive out the road, drop my garbage, and come back. I usually do it on my way to town. But yeah, like, storm prep is a thing out here. Like, I have to prepare and get wood and bring wood in and make sure, all the things are done. And it was a lot more challenging years ago than it is now. But of course, you get routines and rhythms too, right? But yeah, it is, people will say chronic and get that belief in their head that that means permanent. And chronic might mean long term, but it does not mean permanent. It does not, and it doesn't have to. So much of long-term illness is because we own it. We get stuck in that belief and we own the diagnosis, as opposed to...
If you don't mind sharing, because I know out of my work, a lot of the pain comes from the tension in the body that people keep with their emotions. With your being that sick or that handicapped with whatever, Did you find a lot of that was also due to emotions being stuck in the body?
Oh, that was a pivotal moment for me, was when, so there's a integrative care center in Fall River here in Nova Scotia. And I went through some psychotherapy, because you see everybody there. You see nurse practitioners, you see psychotherapists, all the things. And he led me through a guided meditation addressing my anger and my rage. When I walked out of that office that day, the hip pain that had kept me up at night, kept me from being comfortable, that I remember from age 2, was gone.
Mhm.
Literally vanished,
Mhm.
evaporated.
Mhm.
I walked out of the office going, what the just happened? Because, and it has not come back. It has not come back. And that was 12, 13 years ago. If my hips start to ache now, I know to ask the question, what am I pissed off about that I'm not acknowledging? What am I angry about that I'm not dealing with?
Is,
And
isn't it
my
cool
body will answer.
when you realize that the pain you keep in your body is your
Yeah,
emotions, and then you can dive into and resolve.
yeah,
I've had that with people at markets and fairs that I attend, because I usually have the singing bowls. And I
yeah.
remember in Bridgewater, I had one of the other vendors, and she was in so much pain. And we took 10 minutes and just the sound and talking about what was going on in her life. And she got out of the chair and the pain was down half
Mhm.
just by
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It can be so easy. Why do we have to
It
make it
can
so
be
hard?
so easy. Yeah, and it can be so fast,
Yeah.
right? It's not always,
Mhm.
but it can be. And I think it's a willingness to be open to it. Like I've done healing sessions, crystal healing sessions. I did one of my first ones for my girlfriend with her plantar fasciitis. She didn't even know what she was releasing, but she felt it. She felt it let go. And it really hasn't bothered her since. And that was 5 years ago. But it was just like she said, she's like, I don't know what you did. I'm like, I don't know what I did, but it works, right? We don't always know what we're doing, but you don't always have to know what it is. Like until we did the meditation dealing with my anger and it made my hip pain go away, I wouldn't have made that connection before that actually happened, right? And you don't always have to know what it is. But just being open to the possibility that it can be released, it can shift, it can change.
Yeah.
And emotions are energy.
Yeah.
Energy in motion. They're meant to be energy in motion. It's when they get stuck that they cause us problems.
Emotion.
Emotion, right? It's like
Energy is
E equals
motion.
M squared squared, right? Yeah.
It's no, it's interesting to see, because I've been doing the work not as focused as I do that since last year, but I have been doing the work quite a long time, and I've
Yeah.
intuitively done it most of the time the way I do it now. But
Yeah.
now I dive in further and more focused on having my client actually discover the pain in the body or the emotion in their body. So the body mind connection, emotion connection to the body,
Yeah.
in a physical way. And a lot of times we use cutting the cord, which is one
Yep.
of the nicest tools that you can use.
So
And if
good.
you use that by identifying the place where the emotion sits in the body, or the memory sits in the body, because often it's a situation that happened. So
Right.
find it, where does it show up in the body? What is the sensation? Is it a rope? What does the rope look like?
What color is
is
it?
it
Is it
braided? Is it
prickly?
thick? Is it thin? Is it whatever? And they go and they describe physically, with physical attributes, the energetic connection. And
Yeah.
then they cut it off. And most times I say, okay, now cut it off. What do you want to use? Oh, I don't know. And I'm like, first thing comes to mind. Don't think about it. So we had nail clippers for steel. We had blow torches for whatever.
Yeah.
It's cool, because your brain gives you actually something that works.
Yeah.
And you, as soon as you start doubting, you lose that connection. But if you
Yeah.
go with the first thing that comes to mind and just cut it off, People have
Yep.
walked out of here like no pain.
Yeah.
PTSD clients worked with their therapists, and therapists said, "What changing you? You're so different. You're so calm."
Yeah.
Nothing. I just sat in the chair and talked.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It can be so easy.
Yeah.
Right? If you address it at the right area. Does it work for everybody? No, definitely not. Because we are all integrated parts. So you might not
Yeah.
resonate with me, you might not resonate with the sound, but it can
Yeah.
work for some people, and it can be huge benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think there's studies now, and I mean, I think they relate mostly to conversation, but if you're in a major depressive episode and you can have a 12-minute conversation with a friend, with a loved one, it can completely shift everything. Like it doesn't take a long time, 8 to 12 minutes, and everything can change.
Do you
And
do you
it's
know the saying for Simon Sinek? Do you know him? Simon
no, not
Sinek.
familiar.
He is entrepreneur, gives guidance, gives you good advice and daily food for thought on managing and all kinds of things. And one thing he had a post that he said, a friend called me and said, "Do you have a minute?" And he put it down because she texted or whatever, and he put it down because he was doing something else. Just to learn
Yeah.
afterwards that the friend was in a crisis.
Yeah.
So they now have the agreement. She texts, "Do you have 8 minutes?" Just to have that time and to talk about whatever. And it's the cue that there is a crisis. I need you. Because how often do we say, "You have 5 minutes"? I usually say, "Got a sec."
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
say something like the 8 minutes, that's not something that we usually use, right? So
No.
it makes it awareness.
It's
It
much
brings
more
awareness.
specific
Yeah.
and directed,
Yeah.
and it's almost like a safe word.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love the
Yeah.
idea of that. It's so cool when you have that. So if anybody needs 8 minutes, text me.
Yeah. Exactly. Because I have the tendency to say, like, "Are you free? Got a minute?"
Yeah.
But it's
That's
if
not
I do
specific
that, it's
that you need it right now, right?
yeah.
It's just okay. I want to chat with you. If not, it's fine,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But there's it, and that's again creating awareness and building bridges and also building boundaries. That's another
Yeah.
part. In order to keep us sane and safe is a huge
Yeah.
part. Like you
Yeah.
leaving
Well,
your partner at that time for your betterment is creating a
yeah.
boundary for yourself and to keeping you
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's all kinds of things like that. It's like, I'll ask a friend, it's like, "Do you have the space for me to vent right now?" Right? Like, do you have the capacity to hold that? Because if you don't, I will find someone who has the capacity to listen to me right now. And there's also, are we problem solving, or do you just need to be heard? Like, do you want solutions, or do you just want to just
Vent.
dump it out? Right? And being clear on those needs, right? I need 8 minutes. I need a solution. I need 12 minutes. I need to vent. Like, just, yeah,
So for
makes
me,
a big
words
difference.
that I would use if I run a rant, I would say, "Sorry to dump that on you."
Hmm.
And I usually do that in text form more than anything else, because then they can read it or they can leave it. It's out of my system.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
I need help with, and then it's asking for help, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I will ask for help, or I'll say, "Thank you for hearing me out." I try not to say "I'm sorry." It's like, not "I'm sorry, I'm late. Thank you for waiting for me." And
Thank
it's
you
kind of
for your
semantics, but
patience. No, but
it's
it
different.
shifts
It
the whole
shifts
interaction.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a lot of topics we just got onto.
I think we hit them all.
So you are working on creating a grief counseling, grief coaching space. basically.
So
That's the
yeah,
idea. And you're
that's
not quite there yet, you said, but
so right now I have the last Monday of each month I hold a free drop-in grief space. I hold it for an hour or longer or whatever if needed. It's on Facebook. I'm just getting my website up and running, but it's really it's trauma healing, it's grief work, it's shadow work, it's energy healing, and because they all, for me, in my practice, in my life, have all woven together. So it's the trauma informed guidance, coaching, whatever word we want to use, the trauma healing, shadow work, energy healing, grief work, because grief comes into all of that.
and
Because
it's a group. It's not just one-on-one, right?
I do one-on-one.
But
The
that
drop-in
is that,
hour would be
yeah,
whoever shows up.
yeah.
It's an
What
open
people
space.
don't realize is that when we work through that, if we have a supportive community, if we have a group, and it can be a small group of 2, 3, 4, 5, or as
Yeah.
prolific, I got 8, another number of 8.
Right? Yeah.
The support is way bigger, and you handle stuff better when you have the
Yes.
supportive community instead of doing that all by yourself.
Yeah. And that's I've said this for a long time. It's like our journeys are solitary by nature because they are our own, that each one of us is unique, but they don't have to be isolated. Our healing doesn't have to be isolated. And solitary and isolates are two very different things, right? So for the coaching and the energy healing work, primarily one-on-one at the moment. There will be group things that come down the line. I'm really just getting going. So
And there's so much need for people that to find, and if it's just a starting point, just to get their feet in the water and see there's different things that can be done, and then branch out like we did too. Like our stories were not, oh, we did this and we went in a straight line. No, we diverted left and right and up and down and whatever to bring us to where we are now and make us us and authentic, right?
Yeah.
And that's what people I find still struggle with is I have to have it done now, and it has to be this way. And the straight line is never happening because life is not a straight line.
No, it's not. And that's I've found over the years, because I have been doing this in one capacity or another for quite some time now. It's just more formal now with the practice, developing the practice. But I have found that oftentimes people will only need one session with me. And it I don't know, just gets them started on that path with a little bit more, I certainly do longer term, but like a single one-on-one session is oftentimes just the thing.
Yeah. I when people ask me how many sessions do I have to take, I said, what's up to you?
Yeah.
How often you want to see me? I would love to see you. But in the end, my goal is to get you on your own feet to help yourself.
Exactly.
And not me making you dependent on me. That's not the way it should go.
No, exactly. Like I used to struggle with it because it's like, well, because I did a good job. They're doing good now because I gave them the tools they needed to do what they needed to do for themselves, right? Because it's like you say, we're not doing the work for anyone. A healer doesn't heal someone. They just help them open up to how they can heal themselves.
We create the circumstances for your innate healing potential to occur because we don't heal you.
You got
cannot.
Exactly.
I love that. I learned that through
right.
therapeutic touch, and that was so profound again because it takes your ego out of that as a healer. It's not me doing the work. You do the work. I assist you. I guide you. The singing bowls will help you, and that's it.
Yeah.
But the work has been done by you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We're gonna
100%.
put all your information underneath.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy we finally made that happen.
All the things.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah, me too. It's been a bit. But I mean, hey, the path, baby.
Well, but the fun part is we see each other.
Is always
we see each other almost every week, and we never made it happen.
Yes.
So I'll probably see you tomorrow.
It happens. Yeah, I'm on my way in now, so yeah.
Okay. Well, have a good
Yeah,
day,
but
and
maybe see
thank
you
you so
later.
much for coming in. And as I said,
You
all
too.
your information will be underneath the
Thank
video
you for
so that
having me.
people can reach out, and we will definitely share also your Facebook group call, so that's all there, and the book
Yep.
title.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a
Sounds
good
good.
day.
Thank you. You too.
Thoughts are racing, spinning fast. Ideas flow, but never last. Waves of wonder, thoughts untamed. Nothing ever stays the same. Rambling on